Introducing.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Dog Culture Podcast. I'm coming to you live from California. Hyping it. I'm in North Carolina. What's up, fellas? So this is cool because last week Paul was like, welcome back. And then this week I'm like, welcome back. And so Mark, I guess next week,
Got you.
So what's goody, fellas? How you living? Paul, how you living out in Seawickly?
In the sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey. Like I told you, man, I had a tree fall in my backyard. I was out here playing lumberjack all yesterday.
How did that go? Did you do?
No, it went great. Let me tell you what happened, man. This is how great God is, man. I'm like struggling. Like, we talking about huge barks. I'm trying to cut down with this chainsaw. My chainsaw gets stuck in the bark.
So hold up. That was your first time using a chainsaw though, right?
First time cutting a tree.
Oh, okay. I ain't never used a chainsaw before.
Yeah, me
so I'm so my neighbor come like, you all right? I'm like, nah. So I was like, I need help getting this joint out.
Yeah.
Like, and the crazy part, I tried to because it was almost like broke, but I got stuck at the bottom. I know I'm going too far in. I got up on the log, right? And I'm jumping on it, and I fall.
Oh, wait.
I fall off the log, dog.
Wait, that's like that's like when you was in the dorm that one time you was trying to do what the Qs did, and you fell off that chair.
Did I fall off a chair?
Yeah. You
Yeah?
stood on a Mark. Your man stood on a rocking chair and tried.
Was it a rocking chair? Oh, it was one of them little.
Yeah.
The bottom was like this.
Tried to mimic what some Q dogs were doing on a stable chair at this performance they had. Yo, bust his head.
Did I really? Yeah. I don't even remember.
With your dog hat.
Selective amnesia.
Dog culture hat.
But that's man. So he came. He looked it up on YouTube. I had an axe. He had an axe. Put it in there. Wedged it.
Yeah.
Popped it out.
That's what's up.
And my other neighbor was like, "Hey man, this must be your first time cutting a tree." I was like, "Could you tell?" He was like, "Yeah, I saw you from the window." So he came out there with his joint, knocked it out. It took like 8 hours though.
8 hours from the time that we talked to you?
No, 4 hours from the time you talked to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I've been out there since 5:30.
Yeah.
So when I call you, and it got worse that night too, but we'll talk about that on the next. It's all good, man. But it was a good weekend, man.
That's what's up.
That's it.
Yeah. Mark, what you been up to, Brody?
Ain't too much nothing, man. Last night, I had a family fun night over my people's house.
There you go.
Bought my mom this brick oven pizza junk last Christmas. So she finally cracked it open. And we burned about 5 pieces, man. None of them were good, bro. But it was a fun experience, man. And I got a little tipsy. Had a real good time last night, man.
All of a sudden, this bird wants to show up.
Of course.
Hey, bruh. All right. We just gonna have to rock with it. Yeah.
But how about you, bro? How was the drive?
Oh, the drive was cool. So I came out here, North Carolina, for an event, the Maryland Heat, like top dog youth football league around the area. They came out here to get some bump. They like the only football that's going on, so I couldn't pass up the opportunity. So I came out here. I met some guys from Battle, Next Gen Sports. Some dude, Next Gen Sports, if anybody follows him on Instagram, he actually knew my brand. He was like, you out here recording for somebody? I was like, yeah, Dog Culture. He was like, oh, Darius Leonard. And I was like, yeah, something like that. You know what I'm saying? So that felt good, you know, for somebody to actually know, and I'm out in a different state. So, yeah, that was cool. That was cool, man.
That's right. Hey, there's no sports in Maryland, fall sports in Maryland this year?
They shutting everything down, bro. I mean, they still playing basketball because I was in Virginia, so I'm not 100% sure, but like football, I don't think so. Hey, somebody just pulled right up on me. They gonna back up. Okay, cool. Yeah, y'all gonna have to bear with me today, man.
Now we got you. I mean, for the most part, if it get noisy, you could just hit mute until you gotta talk.
I'm telling you what to do, Paul.
So Mark had a super interesting topic he wanted to approach today, and I wanted him to kind of take the lead on it. Yeah. And really, you know, and I shotgun the experience, but you know, it's all yours.
I'm a backseat brawler myself.
So today, man, this week's topic, man, I want to talk about the whole idea of why do folks run away from accountability? You know, to get a little deeper, is more so an idea of how like we mistake wanting accountability for just wanting encouragement. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, everybody needs encouragement.
Right.
But I definitely think that, you know, depending upon what it is you want to accomplish in life, you have to also be open to the idea of not having all the answers. You know what I mean? Having a willingness to want to learn, especially when you're putting yourself out there saying, I want something different. You know, you can't rely on just your own intuitions and your own idea of what you think is going to take. I think sometimes we get too caught up in emotion and feeling, wanting to feel as if we can run through the wall, and that's cool. You know, you need the fuel. But like when a person is able to say, hey man, maybe you should have did this, or did you think about that? It's like we clam up. But then we always wonder, why are we getting to where we want to get to in life and everything? So I kind of want to get you guys this take. I mean, I have a lot more to go on, you know, on about it. Yeah. But at the same time, I want to get you guys this take, and then we'll just, you know, we'll do what we did last week.
Right. I'm glad you I like that topic because I'm actually listening to an audio book. Let me not mess it up. I want to say, Mark, you gave me this book, Extreme
Ownership, Jocko Willett.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, Extreme Ownership, and it's so dope because in the beginning of, you know, life for myself, I was never the type to be okay with accountability. It was always why something didn't happen and a reason I might not have executed. And I was quick to point the finger and not take ownership until I started my own company. And even in my marriage in the beginning, dog, it was like, well, she always do this and that's why I do this. But now just understanding when you take ownership of something, you get that much quicker to a solution, right? You know? So instead of trying to figure out who did what wrong, even if I did not do it wrong, I can find a way where I can take it on me and be like, okay, but how do I fix it from here? And right. I think the reason that people aren't able to accept accountability is kind of like what we said last week. It's like the truth kind of hurts. And to be able to look in the mirror and say, I messed up, it runs hand in hand with like, it's my fault, my life is where it is right now. So to say I messed up is a hard pill to swallow for some people. But if you're like, if the end goal is to get, am I breaking up?
Yeah, you good, bro.
If the end goal,
you've been broke up, dog.
Oh man.
Good.
If the end goal is to get to where I want to go in life, then that's the pill we have to swallow on a daily basis. And I believe it's the pain or just the knock of the pride, just to say that, oh, I messed up or it's my fault. And I think that's where a lot of people have issues. it's a pride thing, I think, and it kind of hurts the ego.
Is the truth that painful though, Mike?
Yeah, boy.
Is it?
Even me, when people tell me, and not no more, but when people tell me the truth about myself, I'll be like, the nerve of you. Like, who? Because you got to understand, you have to be able to take that criticism from anyone if it's true, you know? Like, so even if you see somebody else who may be like your young boy, like Paul. Paul is my young boy, you know what I mean? And when Paul used to tell me about 30 birds just showed up. When Paul used to tell me about myself, I'd be like, P, man, stop playing with me, bruh. But understanding that if I want to get to a certain place in life, I don't know what I'm doing with my hands. If I want to get to a certain place in life, I have to be willing to understand that there's some things about me that I need to fix. And the reason I'm not where I need to be is because I keep getting in my own way. Yeah. And that's what accountability does. It helps you understand that I need to, like, whatever happens to me, I take ownership of it, because the sooner I can take ownership, the sooner I can get to a solution.
Like the podcast, right? Like falling off on the podcast.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
Nah, that's all me. I promise you. That is all me. Because I used to blame Paul when we missed podcasts like last year. And I was like, man, it's your fault, dog. You should have woke up.
But you know, the first one, when we restarted it for season 3, I missed the first session. And then I was like, I tried to play it off like, oh, it's better that Mark was on there. So, you know, it's worked out. But,
right.
So, no, I mean, I'm with you all the way. I think sometimes, like, people call it like, and I guess we'll dive into it. They like, you hating. Stop hating. You know what I mean? Because to actually, I know from a scripture standpoint, right? It says, correct a wise man and he'll thank you. Correct a fool and he'll hate you.
What,
you know what I mean?
That, bro?
I gotta look it up.
He don't know.
I got a bunch of scriptures in my head. I just don't know where they're placed.
The book of Paul.
No, that ain't the book of Paul. That's actual scripture. It might be Proverbs. It might be Proverbs. But I think that's what it is. Like, I'm not wise enough to know what you're saying to me is constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Right? And because I'm so, like you said, I'm so in my feelings about it, I can't even see through what I feel.
Right.
I can't understand it through what I'm feeling, right? Because emotions cloud judgment, right? So I'm taking this, oh, yo, you don't bang with me, or, you know what I'm saying, you hating, versus, like, could what he's saying actually help me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How do you get to that point of being able to be wise enough to even accept it, though?
Oh, man. you gotta, I think it's a maturity thing, right? Where you gotta be able to process past feeling, past emotion. Because, you know, in our adolescence, not even adolescence, you know, when we're younger or not as developed in self-accountability or, you know, ownership, everything is everybody else. We know people that it's everybody else's fault. Mm-hmm. It's never their fault. It's everybody else's fault. So, you know, when you're talking to somebody, like, I already know who I can correct and who I can't correct.
Right.
I'm not even gonna waste my time because I don't even want the argument. Like, well, does that mean that I still don't say it? For some people, yes. But other people, I'm like, I already know what this is gonna go. I already know what direction it's gonna go. You know, because you're not going to process it in a way that is constructive. Right? So what do you do with people like that? Like, you already know they're gonna go left.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm using this term the right way or not. Does it like fall under the category of having emotional intelligence?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. So a lot of people aren't able to control their emotions and decipher when someone may be saying something just because, and, you know, they want to get under your skin, or if what somebody is telling you is actually to help you and not harm you. I honestly think it ties with, like he says, how do you get to that space when your purpose is bigger than you, you put your emotions to the side because you understand it's not about you, right? So now, even like, I will take any type of criticism, even if it's like somebody just wants to say something just to say something, and I will take it and break it down and be like, okay, well, what can I learn from that anyway? So I feel like when what you're doing isn't about you, then your emotions are eliminated, because where I'm trying to go has nothing to do with how I feel. It has everything to do with who's connected to the path that I'm going. You feel me? Yeah, so I think
I got a question for you real quick though, Mike. So
Yeah.
on the field, because I did this with Schmidt one day, and I think that's why he ain't bang with me. I think it was my senior year, junior year, something like that. He like tried to come over to the D-backs and was correcting me on something. I was like, man, get out of here. Right? And it was just me being cocky, like, you know, you young, like,
right.
You go over. I don't even know what he coached, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, he trying to tell me, but he was right though.
Yeah.
But I couldn't process it because I was just so cocky that nah, man, I'm good.
Right.
Have you ever been like that on the field? Somebody try to correct you?
Yeah, I mean, I've been like that my whole life, and
well,
nobody really tried to correct me because I could do no wrong. Yo, quick story though. It was this one game, and this is why, bro. Like coaches can hurt you because they believe in you so much. Mm-hmm. So it was this one game where I did something wrong, and I was like, "Dang, bro! I knew I was supposed to do something else." And I'm walking over to the sideline like, he about to chew me out. And they blame Paul. And I was so relieved. And I didn't even correct him. I was like, dang, Paul.
I always got blamed.
But here's the thing though. I didn't take accountability. Not saying that it happened again, but it didn't get me, like, it didn't help because, right. You know, I let somebody else take the fall. It just like put me in a place where I continue not to take accountability because I thought I could do no wrong. You feel me?
Right.
So, yeah, my bad, Paul. But like you, yeah.
It happens.
Right.
I had to get the feel.
It's funny though. So like two things. Well, one for right now comes to mind because I can't remember the other one. So I'm reading this book. It's called The Law of Attraction, and it's funny because I used to be a really big hater of the book The Secret, only because I felt like it only gave one piece to a bigger puzzle. The whole idea of like, you know, envisioning, really having the emotional attachment or emotional energy towards the things that you want in life, I agree with. But the idea that you don't have to put any type of work into it, that's the part that I felt like it was missing in the book. So the book that I'm reading now, The Law of Attraction, it talks about like how everything goes hand in hand. Long story short though, it goes back to what Mike had said about like understanding your purpose. So he had this example, and I thought it was so dope, and I feel it really applies to this conversation. They were saying that like we're not fully intentional with what we want in life, so that when life throws something at us, we don't recognize it, and we feel as if God, the universe, whatever, is not answering us. So here's the deal. This is the example they gave, and I thought this was so dope. They said one day we'll wake up and say, I want blue. I want blue. You know what I'm saying? I yearn for blue. Then the very next day, we'll be like, man, I want yellow. I really, really want yellow in my life. What ends up happening is when the next day you get green, you're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
I ain't asked for green. And it's like, yeah, you did. You know? So on one hand, you sit there and say to yourself, man, God, I really want you to bring organization, or I want you to bring order to my life. I'm
like, hold up, what's the first color?
Well, I actually have blue.
All right, go ahead.
So on one hand, you might say to yourself, like, you know, I want that accountability, man. I really want to get my life straight. Then the next day, you might yearn just to have like closer relationships. But then when your brother comes to you and say, what you been doing in your life, man? That's literally the combination of what it is that you want. but because it's not in the sentiments or it's not in the package that you want.
That's heavy though.
You know,
I like the breakdown.
Yeah, like we get so again, it goes back to the whole idea. We're so caught up on emotion. Don't get me wrong, we're emotional creatures, but it's like, how do you get to a point of being or detaching the idea of being so emotionally attached to how you feel that you're able to be open to everything that's coming your way? Like, how do you get there? How do you become emotionally mature to actually recognize that this isn't an obstacle? This isn't my brother hating on me. You know what I'm saying? This isn't something for me to just get upset about, but this is actually a lesson for me to learn. This is something that can potentially help me grow to the person that I'm trying to become. How do we get there?
Well, I know, P, I think I saw you brewing. I know you got something, but I wanted to say this before I forgot. But it's just like, you don't know until you know. So you have to identify the issue first.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know what's going on about themselves because they never take the personal development or the time to figure out, like, what things do I need to fix in order to take myself to the next level. So in order to actually fix that issue, doing the thing with my hands again, in order to fix that issue, you have to identify the issue. You have to identify that, oh, I don't have control of my emotions, and this is why I respond or react instead of respond. This is why I react this way when somebody cuts me off, or this is why I react this way when somebody says, hey, that doesn't look right. Because, dog, we have, and I can only speak for myself again, but we have the idea that everything we do is like A1 as soon as we spit it out. Or, like I said, for me. And prime example, when I make my videos, right, I look at it and be like, oh, that's fire. And when I show my wife, because that's my wife and that's my dog, and she has a lot of good input. And immediately, and not no more, but immediately when she, like, I'm looking at her, and then she be like, I mean, you could, instantly I'll be like, hating. Just be like hating for no reason, yeah. And then she be like, do this, I do that, do this, do it, right? And then I do everything she tells me, and then I look at the video again, and now it's fire. But I don't understand that she's here to help me until I see the end result. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, okay, maybe she wasn't hating. So then I can identify, you have a you problem. You got a problem with people telling you that your finished product or whatever isn't what you think it is. So instead of getting in your own way and thinking someone's hating on you, won't you accept the criticism, apply it, and see if it works? And so once I started to realize, like, oh, I got issues, I was able to put my emotions to the side. So when I show her, and this is one example, when I show her a video and she corrects it, I'm like, I bet my emotions aren't involved. All she's doing, giving me information. I apply the information. I get a better product. But I first had to identify the issue that, I had to identify the issue that I had an issue, right?
You can't hear it anyway. But I got
okay.
That's oh man, that's awesome.
That's heavy.
One of the things, heavy, right? One of the things I wanted to really kind of point out was around this thing about emotion, right? And how much our emotions change, right? We could want something in one season, and then when the season changes, we want something different. So it changes our focus, right? And I really, when you're talking about the law of attraction and doing the work that I did on it a little bit, I really realized that you're right. We don't really ground ourselves in saying, yo, in the times where we have ground, I not speak for myself, as did Mike, but when I was like just straight line focused on one thing, I was able to kind of center my energy and my focus to that. But when I was like, I want this, I want that, I want this, and I started feeling the tug, right? And what I realized in how our vibrations works and our frequency works and all of these things is that us pulling at those different things, we're like casting like 4 or 5 different rods. You know what I mean? At the same time, like, I want this, I want that fish, I'm trying to catch it, So I looked at it like, even if you're like in a boat, right? And how the current moves, right? You don't want to be like a boat that's going with whatever the current, however the current is flowing, right? You really want to ground yourself and say, you know what? No matter how much speed, how much resistance I get, I'm gonna keep pushing forward in this direction, right? Because we're gonna feel a different way. Sometimes we're gonna feel like, you know what? Not that I don't want that, but I want this a little bit more. And just like our cravings, and that's the thing I learned about just a high social emotional intelligence. We have different cravings. I'm not just talking about food, just in different areas of our life. Sometimes we want this, and sometimes we want that, and sometimes, but when you ground yourself, you like, yo, I gotta stay focused on this right here. I gotta do this right here, and I gotta keep moving on this right here until it give way. And that, I don't know if you ever seen that those little like pictures and memes where two people are digging for diamonds.
Yeah.
One person to dig a little bit, and like, nah, I ain't getting nothing. Then go to another spot, start digging. And there's a one person that just keeps digging in the same spot.
Mm-hmm.
He'll get there, and the other dude will be like, yo, like, you know what I mean? So it's like that same kind of idea. I gotta center my focus in this one area. I gotta keep doing it. I can't get distracted by what he doing, or if it's not working right now. Well, I'm gonna let y'all run with that.
And so I did gather my thought. Good stuff, Paul. And same to you, Mike, also. So one thing that at least I can try to bring to the audience as far as a tool to like kind of, I guess, help getting that grounding, you know, or that centeredness, is realizing that, so I'm real big on Stoic philosophy. I got into Stoicism like some years ago. I don't know how the hell I stumbled upon it, but like, it's so dope. I love it. And one thing that Stoicism has taught me is that
I'm like, Stoicism. I gotta look that up.
So like, you know, Stoicism.
The first thing I heard when he said Stoicism.
Hey, don't be cutting Mark off.
No, go ahead.
Nah, it was Najee Ramba. And I was like, I don't know what this bound me into.
So,
all right, go ahead.
With Stoic philosophy, man, that's people like Epictetus, Socrates, things of that nature, man.
Nepiditis.
Pretty much. So one thing about Stoic philosophy that like really helped me was understanding that life is so neutral. There is no good, there is no bad, there just is. You know what I'm saying? And what's happening is once you're able to take things from that vantage point, now you just detach feeling from everything. Again, it's just neutral.
Okay.
You know, it's within us the level of attachment or level of emotion that we want to associate with it. So like the reality is that like I can say, man, it's Bama Mike. You know what I'm saying? And me use the term Bama, Mike has the opportunity to be like, okay, that's just how the man talks. That's just the term.
Right.
Or he'd be like, who he talking about? You know what I'm saying?
That's sweet.
Yeah, so like
that's fine.
That life is just so neutral.
Yeah.
There's no necessarily good or bad, but just the love that we attach or the emotion that we associate with it. It helps us to understand that, like, again, when a person's coming to us with something, treat life like a science experiment. Plain and simple. You know what I'm saying? This is my man's hypothesis as to what could potentially help me. Let me try it. Literally, you said that about your wife, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is a science experiment. Okay, cool. I'm attached to what I just produced.
Right.
Let's try her way real quick, just to see.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think if we could just take the approach of just being a scientist to our lives, don't be so attached to the end result that you're like, it has to be my way. Try a couple of things. And if it doesn't work, then cool. You know what I'm saying? You can check that off the list.
Yeah.
But at least you gave it a try. But when you're able to just look at everything as just neutral,
right,
then it's like, let me assume that this person's coming from a loving place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let me assume this person has my best interest at hand. Oh, wait, let's jump in.
So what would you say about, I know it's kind of digging a little deep. What would you say about like everything that's going on right now, State of the Union, how emotions are on an all-time high? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we so deeply rooted in our emotions, we can't even, you know, I'm just like, everything I hear on TV, I'm like, it's lies. I'm not even listening to none of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I don't want it to soak into my you know, my emotional depths. Like I'm just like you said, let it be what it is.
Right.
Whether it's true, whether it's false, let it be what it is. I have my own thoughts about it, but you know, gotta work it out. You know,
right. But it's I don't know, man, Paul. It's so tough, man, because it's like you don't want to feel as if you're being insensitive to what's going on, you know. But at the same time, it goes back to I think something that we talked about last week in the sentiments of like we have to be so okay with understanding our intentions that we can't worry about everybody else's, and we have to be protectors of our own house first and foremost.
Right.
I'm the exact same way. Like I don't try to be ignorant to what's going on in life, but you know, I actually had a conversation with Mike about this. It's like if I understand how I can get emotionally attached to something, I have to ask myself, what I'm bringing to my life, is this beneficial or is it going to put me on edge? You know what I'm saying? When me and Mike were talking about the recent situations, you know, I had to call this dude, man, because he in the text message, this man was like, blase, yep, all now. Right. I want to close everything, but you know, and then after we talked, you know, I felt like we both were able to, you know, both kind of like talk ourselves off that edge. I wasn't nowhere near the edge as he was. Black Panther stuff. And still, you know, I think that's very, very important, Paul. But to be honest with you, for the average person, I think it goes back to what we just talked about earlier. It takes a certain level of emotional intelligence and just emotional maturity and just understanding oneself to get to that point to say that, like, it's messed up, but in order for me to bring about the change that I want to see within the world, it has to start in my own backyard. Mm-hmm. You know, I have to start with me first as an individual, and then my family, then my brothers, and then hopefully that just germinates and spreads. Yeah. You know, as opposed to, you know, just being so quick to emotionally react, and we literally kind of go right back into the same cycle. It's like at some point in time, do we not see what's going on? I don't know, man.
Well, how do we get people there? I know you had brought up something when we was texting about cheerleaders versus teammates.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, how do we get people? Because, like you said, you know, and not to take away from the text that you sent me. Do people just want people to applaud them?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, do you not want correction?
Right.
You know, but because of the state that we're in, we've been in for a long time, people need more criticism.
Yeah.
People need more accountability. You know what I mean? Especially if you're going to do anything progressive, you need to be able to have that. I know they say wise men seek counsel.
Yeah.
Right? So instead of just being like, you know, all right, no, because I feel like at a certain age, you cut off. A lot of people just cut off learning anything new.
Yeah.
Or changing themselves, right? They say by 35, you're locked in on a program that's been, you know, given to you since birth. You know what I mean? You kind of already know how you're going to act to certain stuff. Unless, now you can rewire it if you choose to, but that's very intentional work.
Yeah.
You know, so how do we help people be able, because personally, I think a lot of people have, you know, not just men, but people have a very low emotional intelligence, social emotional intelligence.
Right.
How do we get them there?
I honestly, I still think it goes back to identifying and understanding that this is something that I need assistance with or help with. When it comes to people, like I like clearing my voice. When it comes to people accepting criticism or wanting praise as opposed to guidance, I feel like that's I don't know what term this like is associated with that, but I feel like it's a lack of wanting to go to the next level because you feel like you're already there type thing. And it's a situation with an individual that, and this is, you know, a made up story, with an individual who comes to you and say, kind of like me, how does this look? Oh, it's dope. I knew it. You know what I'm saying? Boom. I keep going about my day. I keep going about my way. I'm that dude. How does this look? oh, you should fix this, yada, yada, woo, woo. Oh, you hating. I keep going about my day. I never ask you again. Like, I never associate with the person that tells me what I don't want to hear. And when I look down the road, I'm never getting any further in my career, in my life, wherever I want to go. And once we identify, okay, do I shut out the people who are telling me what I don't want to hear? And if I do, then now I can see, okay, that's my problem right there. My problem is I don't accept the criticism. And this is all about identifying, I think. I don't accept it, therefore I'm not able to grow. So when somebody tells me I'm so good for so long, it's like, okay, well, I literally do no wrong, but am I where I need to be in life? Or where am I where I long to be in my career or in my business or wherever I want to do? And I feel as though most people who aren't there, like that's where your emotions get like tied up, because you feel like I'm doing everything right. So if you're an individual who's doing everything right and nothing is progressing, now emotionally you're so attached to what you've been doing. So I've been grinding, I've been doing this for so long. When is it going to happen? So now like your perspective starts to shift, simply because you can't take criticism that's going to take you to another level, because now all you're thinking is, I have been doing everything right. I. And now you're in a place where you can do no wrong, but your life isn't changing, right? So even with not accepting the criticism, it opens so many other doors that, and I don't want to say demons, but it puts you in a place of emotional instability, I guess, because you're not able to see the wrong. And it's not, I don't even want to say wrong, the areas where you can
error,
right, where you can increase just by taking accountability, or just by knowing that I don't always have the answer. And once I realized, it's so many people with wisdom, with information, who are where I aspire to be. So what do I look like thinking that I'm going to get there by myself? If I don't know nothing that they know, right? If I don't read, if I don't pick up a book, if I don't look for guidance, if I don't think that I am not the individual I need to become in order to get there, then I won't get there. But what do I look like thinking that I have it under control when I'm only me? Now, so quick thing for everybody listening. This is a place where I kind of blank out, and I'm trying to catch it. But here's what I'm trying to say. Individuals who aren't able to take the self-accountability, who aren't able to take the criticism, are not able to grow, right? And P always says, if you wanna go far, how you say it? Go together. And when you try to do it by yourself, you can only go as far as you can go. Right? And in order to get to that light,
I said it, but you got it.
Right. In order to get to phenomenal, we can't. I personally believe you can't get to phenomenal by yourself.
You can't.
Even in football, like I needed others to teach me the way. I needed the camaraderie. I needed to fall on my face. Huh? Right. You know what I'm saying? And here I go again. See, I did good until now, and I went all the way around this circle. But in order to get to phenomenal, bruh, you cannot do it dolo. And when you think you have it all figured out, you don't accept your teammates' criticism. You don't accept your teammates' hand when you fall. You just be like, I got it. But that's the crippling part, and that's when the emotion takes over, because it's like it's all on me. So when somebody tries to do it all on themselves, they put so much pressure on themselves, dog. So then when you don't get there, now you feel like you've done everything right, and you start blaming. Right. And you start pointing the finger. And that's another thing. That's accountability. So when you do it wrong, oh, it wasn't me because, you know what I'm saying, COVID happened. Man, forget COVID, right? COVID COVID, nothing matters but what you do, like your perspective. Quick segue, not segue, I don't know the word. COVID happened and dog culture took off further than it was before COVID. Because my perspective was like, okay, well, let me just use this. As opposed to complain and blame COVID for dog. Like, I lost contracts. I promise you, I lost contracts. Like, and this is year 2 for me. And I'm like, oh, that's sweet. But COVID happened, contracts I lost, but I didn't let it affect the way I saw my business or myself. I said, bet, well, how can I use this to my advantage? And then once I changed my perspective, let me use this to my advantage. My business kind of took off more than it was before the contract. So whatever I just said, I don't know how to wrap it up. So yeah.
Three things. I go in order.
Always going in circles. Go ahead.
So the first is going to be what you just touched upon. Winston Churchill says, never let a good crisis go to waste.
I think you told me that too.
Yeah, bro. And I'm just so big. Like, throughout this whole period, I've been so big on this. Like you said, bro, COVID happened, and most people were like, yeah, man, I didn't gain like a good 10, 15 pounds. Yeah, I'm below 200 for the first time in my adult life.
Right.
Because of COVID. You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Take an obstacle, make it an opportunity.
Yeah.
Second thing, what I was going to say is that when you were talking about how like when a person tells you, you say, hey, check this out, what you think? And they're like, yeah, that's nice. You're like, oh, great. You big yourself up.
Yeah.
Is that we take responses, and instead of taking them or treating them as what they are, which is just a measurement of either I'm doing something right or I'm doing something wrong. Not wrong, but I need to adjust. We take them and put labels upon it. Oh, I'm right. Or I'm wrong. We personalize, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just a ruler.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm going in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? It's just a GPS, but we make it associations. We personalize it. We create either a badge of honor or a chain of shame. You know what I'm saying? Now, the third thing I was going to say is, and this kind of wraps everything up, is that it seems as if it comes down to having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. So it's a book called Mindset by Carol Dweck, and it's a really, really dope read. And she talks about how it's very important the words that we use to our children when they're growing up. When you're constantly telling the child, man, you're so smart, or you're just so talented, they start to take on that identity that if anything contradicts that, they totally just shut down. They don't even strive. You know what I'm saying? Why try something hard when I know I can do this and continue to keep perpetuating the label that was placed upon me? I'm smart. So like, why do anything hard where I could potentially fail? Even if that thing might take me to that next level of where I'm supposed to be in life. Yeah. Nah. I'll take that easy puzzle over there. You know what I'm saying? I'll go ahead and play the 5th grader in basketball because I know I can dog. As opposed to playing the person in varsity. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, once we're able to understand that, like, it's pretty much two sides to the same coin. You just ask yourself, like, what side am I going to feed? It's kind of like that whole thing of like the wolves. Which wolf are you going to feed? The one that had, I forgot, it's like something. It's a old Indian like fable about 2 wolves being on your shoulder and stuff. One is like about greed and so on and so forth, and the other one's about abundance, and it's like all about which one you just feed each and every day, and that's the ones that will take over in your life.
I've never heard the wolves concept. That's dope.
You never heard that, John? Oh, I'm gonna send that John to you, bro. Yeah. So like the same thing applies to either understanding do you have a fixed mindset, and I'm able to take the criticisms because again I don't take the attachment. But I'm not using the words of, instead of me saying that you're smart, you're saying you're a hard worker. You know what I'm saying? It sounds different, but it's one and the same to a degree. You know what I'm saying? It's so slight that one can again bleed into such a detrimental identity that you just, yet again, all you look for is praise, and you disassociate with anything that brings challenge. Or as a hard worker, I conquer obstacles. You know what I'm saying? I embrace challenges. So it's just,
or you can like just take it a step further and be like, you're a conqueror.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like those things, like you said, like those, what's the verbiage that we're using to identify or to create our identities? You know what I'm saying? And once we get a hold of that, I think that's one step towards it. But again, it goes back to just having that awareness.
Right. That's what I was saying. That's exactly what I was trying to say.
No, I think it's key, man. And I looked at it kind of personally when we're trying to shape how we say things, right? Because I think how we say it, because, you know, on the levels of communication, tone and nonverbal communication is more important than the words itself, right? So how we're saying it, the messaging is super important, right? But then on the flip side is, okay, how are they receiving it, right? Because different type of people can receive it differently, even if it's the same message, right? So I think that's a whole nother, that's kind of diving a couple levels deeper into the entire piece around not just criticism, but, you know, as we're communicating with one another around being accountable, right? But I think what you guys are saying is super important, man, because I always try to use like a sandwich technique, like give something good, get the bad, and then give it good at the end. You know, still like encouraging, but listen, this is what you still got to work on. Like, this is good, what you're doing.
Coaching.
Work on this, right.
Yeah.
But this is what has to be done in order to get better, right? So something that you said about, you know, even with your kids about, oh, you're so smart. I don't know if it was the same book I was reading or I read an article or something, and it was just talking about messaging to your kids. You want to kind of play in their mind that they're problem solvers. Mm-hmm. Not like just give them the automatic affirmation, oh, you're this, you're that. Like, give them in their mind. So like something that I used to say to my daughter, like, you could do anything you put your mind to, right? Anything you put your mind to, you could do it. Like anything in the world. So I went to her school. This is like 2 years ago. I went to her school and she had it written on the wall. You know how like every kid have a section? Right. And I'm like, dang, like she was listening to what I was saying.
That's dope.
You know what I mean? Like if she really put her mind to something, she could do it. And she had it like posted on her little block. And I was like, yo, that's
dope.
Yeah.
That's fire. That's fire. One thing I when I tell Snoop, right?
You about to start crying?
I tell Snoop all the time, bro, you can beat any dog. Like that. But no, I just remember something when Paul was talking about the digging concept or the example. Me and Lee was talking about it the other day about not giving up. And this is off topic, but we was talking digging, so I want to bring my digging story. And you see the picture of two people digging, and then it's like right behind the tunnel is the reward, and then it's one person that's still digging, and then above them, other individuals walking away, right? Like you never know how close you are to the breakthrough. And the reason, I don't know where this is coming from, but I said it the other day when I was speaking, people get so caught up on the destination. When is it going to happen? I've been doing it for so long. I've been and all this kind of ties together, like emotional and accountability. I've been doing it for so long. When is it going to happen? And then when we start thinking about, I've been doing it for so long, and not really focusing on the journey, we lose sight of the beauty in the process, because we have to understand that the process is what builds the character. The process, like enduring the process and being able to accept the process, is what keeps you at the destination. But when you just want to get to the destination just because, like, you can lose everything that you need to stay there along the way if you don't embody it. Like if you don't look at the process as, I need every single thing that's going to happen to benefit me anyway, so when I get there I can sustain it and I can bring others along. But the picture of the guy digging, he's not focusing on when, he's just focusing on digging. Like, this is the process, this is what it takes to get there, and this is all I'm focusing on. And that's, like P was saying, it's focus. Like, if you focus on one thing, you get there faster. But the guy who walks away, he's thinking about, I've been digging, I'm tired, how long is it going to take? And then all those emotions kind of bottle up, and you can kind of like self-implode or self-destruct and kind of lose yourself along the way. And then now we don't even finish the process because we're so focusing on everything that I'm doing to get there, as opposed to everything that essentially needs to be done. And that's why I'm focusing on what needs to be done in order to get to the destination. That's a bar. And I didn't take 3 years to get there.
I was going to say, that sounds like, you know, tactics versus fundamentals.
Darwinism.
It sounds like tactics versus fundamentals, man. People are so enamored with tactics of how to get there and stuff, as opposed to the fundamentals of like, this is what it takes to get there. Like you said, you have to enjoy the process. Mm-hmm. You have to find a way of understanding what the process creates. The process is not just getting there. It's who are you becoming in there. So once you, like you said, once you get there, you're good. You know, you can, the tactic of getting $1 million, you can go rob a bank. But if you fundamentally don't know how to, you know, manage money,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Right. That's
just having that.
What happens with most dudes, they get money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. I want to get to the league. Get to the league, you done in a year, in 2 years.
Or you win the lottery. You win the lottery, $50 million, 2 years later, bankrupt.
You don't know how to manage it.
Yeah.
So it's really about becoming the person you need to become. And like you said, it's the journey of it, though, Mike. Yeah, he don't like when I call him Mike. It's a journey, though, gun. No, like, really, like, I think that's I think you just texted me. I wanted to look it up. You said, I'm looking forward to us perfecting this process.
Yeah.
Instead of being, we're a #1 podcast. We could like, God, like, just let's enjoy building this.
Yeah.
Like, let's enjoy, you know, challenging each other and getting better and getting smarter, working hard, more, you know, working smarter, not harder, right?
Harder. There
right?
you go.
And all those different things. Like, let's enjoy this. Like, you know, it's not about the views and the, you know, we'll get the millions and millions of views and different things, but let's just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, just this Sunday morning, like, let's just enjoy it. Let's, you know what I mean?
For real.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
And that's the thing. Like, a lot of people get caught up on, like, I'm not there yet. Like, yo, you just started. What are you talking about? Man.
Didn't the young boy say that? The one from Northwestern?
Oh, which one?
The one that was like, yo, I'm trying to start my brand. You know, you don't remember that when you went?
Yeah. We had a conversation, right?
Yeah.
But then even at Duquesne, me and Gunny it was a teammate of ours, and he was like, man, I've been grinding for so long. He was like, bro, you just started. What you talking about? And you wonder why. Like, you're just wondering, like, why am I not there? Like, you have not done what is required to get there. If you want to drive to Texas and you step out your front porch and you don't even get in the car and then you sit there for a couple hours, like, why? Like, this is the best example I can give at the moment. Like, you sit there and you're like, why am I not? Because you haven't even started driving. It's a 30-hour ride. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people get so caught up on the destination when they forget, like, the process in actually getting there. Like, it takes what it takes to get there. So you can't just focus it on there. Focus on each step. And that's it. Once you start focusing, like, you learn so much within the process, dog, that, like, it makes you so much better. Like, you learn about yourself. You meet people. Like, it's just things that are required. These are things that we can't skip. We can't just skip over these things just because we want something so bad. If you want it so bad, one, it shouldn't even be about you. So knowing that when you get there, you have to give it back to others, you better focus on the process so you can be able to explain it like you're talking to a third grader when somebody else is coming behind you saying, oh, I want that too. You feel me?
Yeah.
So,
and like, dude, like, for real, like, on the journey, the best part about it is, like, the sightseeing that you get on the, you know what I'm saying, in route. Like, don't get me wrong, I want to get to Disney World, but, like, being able to see, like, different sights and things of that.
Loves Disney World.
You know what I'm saying? Seeing the different sights and the different experiences, you know what I'm saying? Like, even getting the flat tire en route, you know what I'm saying? And, like, going through that process and potentially teaching my daughter how to change a tire, and just, like, dog, like, so many gems that you get on the road.
Perspective, yeah.
Perspective, man.
Yeah.
Power of perspective, which is something that we want to touch on this podcast, man. That pop effect, the power of perspective, bro. But I'm gonna go ahead and give it back to you guys and everything, man. I don't know what are we wrapping up? It's 10:07.
Yeah, we about to hit an hour, I believe.
Yeah, Zoom, man. I like you, Zoom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually, guys, I want to go live. Feel me? We're gonna go live and get the audience interacting. We gotta find the prime time hours or whatnot. But yeah.
So what's the major takeaways from this week, Mike? And if you had to wrap everything up
from the podcast?
Yep. What is it that we want the audience to, one, learn, and then two, this week, what are some action steps they can put in place to, be better when they come back to us next week?
Identify your weaknesses. And the word weakness kind of makes you feel like, I ain't weak. Well, we aren't all super strong in areas. We all have weaknesses. And maybe you guys have another word since we are big on words. But identify those those places in your life where you know that you need help in. And then when you see the assistance, when you see the ball coming, actually catch it. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to be like, oh, that wasn't for me. You know what I'm saying? You the only one outlet. You the only one out there, the ball coming, and then you kind of stop like, oh, no, that wasn't mine. No, identify the issue, and when you see the help or when you see the assistance coming, accept it, embrace it, and apply it.
Got you. I want to add one more.
I got to work on my metaphors because, of course, you would think the ball is –
don't judge yourself, man.
Nah, don't judge me, Paul. Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
I got one more to add to that, man. Identify 3 teammates in your life. And identify 3 people who, and again, there's no offense to them, but identify 3 people that you go to that are more so cheerleaders. Understand and try to
heavy
more with those teammates. Be willing to accept more from those teammates as you are able to understand what their purpose is in life. You're going to need your cheerleaders. You're going to need that, hey, bro, hey, make that play. You're going to need that person that's going to pull you to the side and say, hey, man, you missed that block because you wasn't, so on and so forth.
Right.
So identify at least 3 teammates in your life and reach out to them, you know what I'm saying, this week.
Yeah, heavy.
I don't even got nothing to add to that. That's solid. I'll give it to y'all, man. I appreciate y'all.
I like your dog culture hat, Paul.
Oh, yeah, we're going to make it something like this. These are joints that Plies be wearing.
Who?
Plies.
Oh, those are trucker hats?
Yeah.
These are Jones Gunny be wearing right there.
Don't post the trucker hats.
Yeah. I got a haircut.
Yeah. Close us out, man.
You close us out in prayer. I don't know where that came from.
I don't know where that came from.
I just thank him. I'm grateful.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
All right, I'm about to close this out. I bought some new glasses. You know what I'm saying?
Every time I want to be cute, everybody's like,
me. Paul think I'm cute. Telling my wife, yeah. All right, we out, man. I don't know what you want from me, boy. You know what I'm saying? We out here.
Last time I hung up early, y'all was laughing at me, so.
Yeah, you ain't want to hang up early this time. I'm going to do it again, so.
I'm just going to wait.
All right. Well, I can edit this, so.
I'm gone.
All right, man.
All right, fellas.
Live. Yeah. Honestly. All right, we can have a section called "Here Are My Thoughts." You know what I'm saying? I'm in North Carolina. Take your shirt off, twist your right, spin it like. No, I'm in North Carolina, chilling with my wife. Love my wife, yeah. It's my dog, my best friend. You know what I mean? That's my bestie. We about to head back to Maryland. You know what I mean? Y'all be good. Here go Mark right here. I'm still on the podcast, having my own segment. All right, y'all be good. Love is love. Gang, gang, baby. Yeah.